First, I would like to share the definition of the public sphere. Well, it can be namely it has three basic elements. For example, the rationality, openness, and independence. Rationality means have an independent personality and critical spirit, and people can discuss public interest issues based on rationality. And the openness means the medium that we can free the medium that we can free exchange and for communication. And independence means free discussion is not interfered by interests, and we can exercise the right of separation and criticism to form public opinion. As we all know, the public sphere's definition, and then I will compare the definition of the public sphere with the future of Weibo and Twitter. After I did a literature review, I find three main points. The first point is Weibo and Twitter are irrational debate space. And the next point is they are unequal communication. And also these two platforms controlled by the profits. For example, the first point, irrational debate space, it means some people may argue that anonymity enables the debater to abandon their worries in real life or form the spirit of criticism and reflection on the platform. However, other opinions also argue that anonymity is easy to hide identity on Twitter and Weibo, so the behavior can lead to uncivilized venting. Early scholars generally used qualitative analysis to arrive at this conjecture. For example, and there are three examples I listed on this slides. And because the time is limited, so I just talked another point that Weibo and Twitter we are not an openness communication because while they are rational argument on the platform of some people, other scholars argue that social media platform doesn't strengthen the democratic discussion. For example, they strengthen previous views due to selective content, and op news leaders, they also play a more significant role in our discussion. And I listed some examples. For example, through an empirical study of political participation content on Twitter since 2009, found that the public paid more attention to bloggers with similar political positions. And on Weibo, scholars reach similar conclusion. Celebrities are the guides of information, while ordinary people are the followers of information released by celebrities. Well, the next finding is that Weibo and Twitter, they all controlled by the profits. Well, some people, they argue that Weibo and Twitter, on Weibo and Twitter, we have some rational debate and free communication, and the public sphere also characterized by the fact that speech is not controlled by the rights. For example, supporters, they believe that internet will provide people with the right to express their views and the monopoly of information by powerful people. And some scholars also using some methods to analyze groups of people with disabilities on Twitter. And the result is that Twitter helps these people to striving for equal political rights. And some scholars didn't agree with this idea. They think even if there are certain amounts of network public opinions, it doesn't mean that the public opinion has got rid of the control of power. For example, on Weibo, the algorithmic recommendation weakens the equity of public sector, and the public is more vulnerable to commercial information such as product placement, advertising, and entertainment information rather than previous information. So I would like to move on to the third part, is that the research gap. So nowadays, most scholars have carried out theoretical analysis and platform characters analysis on whether Twitter and Weibo have characters of public sphere of internet and whether they have formed public sphere of the internet. However, these conclusions are too optimistic or negative. Optimistic scholars believe that Twitter and Weibo have critical users, free platforms for comments, and the formation of public opinion. Well, with the development of research, some scholars based on serious conduct content analysis of users' comments on hot events, social media platforms. These scholars are beginning to question the assumptions of public sphere, such as that the discussion of democracy is not yet fully strengthened and that the regime situation still manipulates users. Well, however, these researchers are mainly limited to the exclusive focus on Twitter or Weibo, and there are few kinds of research on differences of the same hot topic among different platforms and the reasons for the differences. So for the future researchers, I think maybe we could have some research questions like this, comparative analysis of the differences between news reports on Twitter and Weibo from the public sphere perspectives, take environmental issues as an example, or in addition to food health and environmental issues like this kind of issues, or a number of representative public issues can also be selected to analysis. Yeah, that's all. And this is my presentation. Thank you for listening. If you have some questions, I'm very happy to answer it.